white-collar crime can be hard to spot, and it can be particularly damaging when a business partner is defrauding a company. Alex Martin is going to talk to us about this. He's a commercial lawyer and director of Taurus Legal Management and is on the line now. Alex, good morning.
Good morning, Stephen. Thanks for having me.
This is, I want to talk about one particular one that stuck out in my mind because, I mean, it's not the kind of thing we hear about. There's obviously the Melissa Caddick story that's doing the rounds at the moment, and we hear about white-collar crime, and there's various movies about it from time to time, but it's not something we really think about.
Sure.
But it can happen anywhere. Like one of the big four consultancy firms who, they have thousands of accountants on the payroll, and even they didn't pick it up.
Right, yes. So we've just had a very large case come out in Australia where a partner of a large accounting firm was defrauding the company, embezzling more than $3 million in that went straight to his account. That was really the accounting firm's money, and his assets were frozen. So it was a very big deal.
So how do these things slip through the cracks? Because you would hope that businesses in particular were on top of every dollar that goes in and goes out. So how do people get away with this?
Yeah, that's the $1 million question. So I think we've got to distinguish between partner fraud, which is where you're dealing with a business partner, so an owner of the business or someone very senior, and that kind of more junior, low-level fraud where you're dealing with an accounts clerk or a procurement manager or something like that. I think they're different things. And when you're dealing with a procurement manager, it might be small amounts of money disappearing, whereas when you're dealing with a business partner, I think that the reason that it slips through the cracks, if you like, is that partner has a lot of power. Normally, if you're a partner in an accounting firm or a law firm or you're an owner of a business, you're given wide latitude to do whatever you like because you're a part owner, and you're seen as sort of above reproach in terms of your ethics, which is just in practice just not true. Often, in fact, you're the person who's the most or in a position to steal the most money.
But I guess we've got to distinguish here between when we're talking about one of the big four accounting firms, a partner is a senior person in that business, which is different to say three blokes who start a business together and are business partners, so to speak.
Yeah, that's right. What's strange actually about the very large accounting firms and law firms and so on is often they're set up as they're called partnerships, but they're not partners. They're companies. But each of the kind of partners, each of the senior people, really run their own show. That although you might have an accounting firm that's got 100 partners, really you sort of got 100 different businesses with 100 different key people who are running their own. You have their own small team, have their own clients, run their own show, and are sort of banded together as an accounting firm under the same banner. But they're actually operating very separate businesses, and often they don't even really like each other, and they're fighting with each other and quite hostile towards each other, and they've got almost unlimited authority to hire and fire and to invoice and to deal with their clients, and they don't have the kind of corporate accountability that you might have in a bigger company, and they're certainly different to a small company where you got three mates who start a business or whatever.
So what's the legal recourse here? Because I imagine once you catch it, and often it's too far down the track, you can obviously there's criminal proceedings that will take place because it is a crime,
sure.
But how do you get the money back? Because I imagine anybody that's knocking off that amount of money is probably spending it to fund some sort of extraordinary lifestyle.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's one of the key signs of white collar crime is somebody who has a lavish lifestyle, and although you think they might hide it, often they don't. They crave the status, of buying Lamborghinis or doing whatever. And in a lot of the famous cases, there certainly is a very lavish lifestyle. You do have legal resources. Obviously, criminal charges can be brought by the police. If you're talking about serious, theft, and there's a civil case, which is what I do, which is where you can sue the person and obtain an order for damages and so on. In the case of this, the Big Four accounting firm case that's just come out, the assets were frozen. So this fellow sold his house, and the sale proceeds were frozen by the court. So you can actually get orders within a couple of days. You can walk into court and get an order within a couple of days to freeze assets, and that's typically what they do and how they get their money back if they can. I mean, if the money's spent or gone overseas, it's very difficult. But if you can, it might be that the proceeds of the fraud have gone or have been spent on gambling or on whatever, but it might be that the home or the other assets are still available. So those can be frozen by the court and then used to repay the debt.
So the $1 million question, or in this case the $3 million question, how do you stop it from happening?
Yes, well, that is the difficult one. So particularly in the partnership context where partners have a lot of authority, really there's two keys. One is a kind of a cultural issue, and the other is the structuring issue. So culturally, we've got to realise that business partners are just regular people, and they shouldn't be able to have unlimited authority to do whatever they want. And then practically, we need to structure businesses so that there are systems in place. So you got to be looking at audit systems, at what data in your processes are missing, because almost all embezzlement is really a partner concealing transactions in the business systems. So you need robust business systems that can detect that kind of stuff. And then on a more practical level, you've got to keep an eye out for somebody who's gambling a lot, somebody who's buying a Lamborghini for their husband, as was recently a case, someone who's doing things that you wouldn't expect them to be doing, and just keep an eye on it.
Yeah, it's certainly a fascinating area, and I'm sure that it keeps you busy on a daily basis. Alex, good to talk to you this morning.
Thanks, Stephen. Nice to be here.
Alex Martin, commercial lawyer and director of Taurus Legal Management.